Hey, this is Justin with DayTradeTheMarkets.com. On March 13th, we had a pretty sizable sell-off today, and so I wanted to look at kind of break this down piece by piece in terms of this sell-off in the ES today, and talk about early on some of the back and forth that was happening, and then the point at which it really became clear that sellers were taking over, and finally want to talk about what it means going forward in terms of the bigger picture, what we're looking for heading into the rest of the week and into next week. So early on, no, let me put it this way. Heading into the day, we had a bias where we had an up bias. Yesterday we had we had a buying gap from last week, last Tuesday, Wednesday, that was essentially from the around 62 quarter to 49.50 or so. So that was our gap before yesterday, and then yesterday we tested in and had a really strong buying reaction right down there at 53.75. So that and then we gapped up actually from yesterday's close. So heading into the day, obviously our bigger picture bias was up, but we still had this remaining buying gap as well. So that was the context heading into the day. And as soon as we opened the day, again, we had gapped up from yesterday's close, and the market didn't do much. It tested the overnight high, just kind of traversed, didn't do much. Had a couple level 2 selling bars and buying bars there, but nothing really to write home about. And then when we got through the overnight low, we did have this level 3 or extreme selling aggression bar. Okay, so that's our first sign that sellers are really starting to come in. But with that said, we were looking at that area in that 64, 65 area as a potential area where bulls would want to come in. That ended up, we had a bit of a battle for about a half an hour. We tested to the high of this level 3 bar as we would have expected, the resistance zone, had another new low, tested to the high of this bar in this resistance zone. But then when this level didn't hold, that was when we kind of gave up the ghost and headed lower. We took out this other level we were looking at 62.50 with this level 2 selling aggression bar, and this is where it was really, the game was on, when this next level 3 selling or extreme selling aggression bar came in. At that point we're thinking that this is going to at least go test the remainder of this gap, and you can see that it did that, had a bit of a reaction at the top of that gap, and then took out the low of that gap, and we went a bit two-sided at that point, where you can see we came back up here and tested right about to the high of it as well, and kind of just traded two-sided for the rest of the day. But this bar right here was really pretty telling. Actually, any level 3 bar is really going to be pretty telling. You can see when we broke below the overnight low in this level 3 bar, if the bears were really in control, we should test the high of that at least and then have follow through lower. Same thing with this bar, test the high, have follow through lower, and that's what happened. And we took a while to get through this level around 65, 64 that we were looking at, but when we did, you can see we made new lows, tested the resistance zone, and then this level 3 bar here was when it was really on. We didn't even have the strength to return to the high of that bar and test. It just took right off, and then we came in and filled the buying gap. So, in hindsight, it looks like a pretty clear day, that was a pretty clear selling day, and it certainly was. You can see that pretty much every selling structure, only the first selling structure here didn't have its high hold, and you can see this buying structure was rejected. This selling structure had its high hold. This level 2 bar didn't even get tested. Here's a level 3 bar. It's high held beautifully. Here's another one that's high basically held. Here's another level 2 bar. You can see, so every selling structure that we're getting, the highs are holding. Okay, so that's telling us that you can see again when they come in, the highs just keep holding and keep holding. And it's not until here that we go more two-sided. That's when we were testing the gap. So that's a clear sign that bears are very much in control. Now, if you were more aggressive, you could certainly hop in right in here. To me, it didn't make sense to really jump on board until we started taking out this area around 64, 65. So getting in here, or especially when this next level 3 bar came in, certainly made some pretty good sense as well. So hopefully that makes sense. Just wanted to kind of look at this in terms of the confusion, or a little bit the back and forth early day market until we took out the overnight low, and then until we took out the support zone around 64, 65, and then when it really accelerated down toward that remainder of the buying gap. So in terms of going forward, look for the 1833 area to be pretty important. If the market can get below that, I'd say we're into a full-blown down auction. At this point, we're certainly more short-term down, but the bigger picture, there's still some support around that 33 area. So I will watch that heading into Friday and early next week, and then that would be a little bit of a guideline. So again, the idea here is just to keep yourself on the right side of the market, avoid being on the wrong side of the market, and then use the tools to help you determine when it makes sense to get on board and when it makes sense to get out of trades with using this software, for example. So hopefully that makes sense. Let us know if you have any questions about that, and we'll talk soon. Thanks.